What's up, guys? You guys know the X-Men, right? You know, from the Marvel Universe, great cartoon from the 90s, like the Avengers but not as cool. You may recognize some of the classic members behind me, and today I want to talk about some characters outside of Marvel that would fit right into the X-Men. Now, I know there's a bunch of characters that would fit into this list. I mean, My Hero Academia is just X-Men in Japan. These are just some personal favorites that if X-Men did like some insane crossover, I think they would fit very well. So without further ado, let's get into it. Up first is Cole McGrath from the Infamous series. Cole was just a regular guy in Empire City, doing parkour with his best friend Zeke and being a bike carrier. But on a certain delivery, things would go very wrong. So Cole's delivering this package, and then the man who ordered the delivery tells Cole to open it. Cole at first refuses, but then the man tells him he'll pay him $500 to open it, and then Cole says, say less. So he opens it, and it's this little object called the Ray Sphere, and what happens next? It blew up in his face, and murked a bunch of people. But this is a superhero story, so something special happened. He woke up with the ability to control electricity. So now he has boosted physical stats, he can produce electricity in a variety of different ways. He can even form his electricity into a blade. Kakashi from Naruto would be proud. So why do I think Cole's a good fit for the X-Men? Well, let's put it this way. There are other super people like Cole called conduits, and near the end of his adventure, he had to make a choice. Option 1 is saving all the conduits and finding more of them, but in the process, millions of innocent people die. Option 2 is sacrificing himself and the rest of the conduits to save millions of lives. He chose option 2. Cole was willing to do the right thing even if it meant him and the rest of his kind dying. Switch the word conduits to mutants, and that's what I think a true X-Men would do. Now let's look at this from a different angle. Cole has a rough relationship with his parents, not a lot of money, and only had his best friend Zeke as family. If Professor Xavier knew Cole's situation and invited him to join the team so he could have a place to call home, I feel like he would accept. Cole could bond with others like him, and he wouldn't have to choose between helping mutants and humans, cause they're helping both. Also, Cole's canonically 29, so he would not only be a full-fledged member, he could also be a teacher at the mansion. I'd like to think out there in the multiverse, this man has an X on his shirt. Up next, we got Fujin from Mortal Kombat. Fujin is the god of wind, one of the protectors of Earthrealm, and Raiden's little brother. Fujin's different than your average god in Mortal Kombat. For one thing, he's not busy consulting with the other gods. At one point in the timeline, Fujin decided he would live among humans, and Raiden took that personally. So instead of focusing on your training, you wish to live among humans? I just wish to understand them. They can understand my dick. Very personally. Living with humans turned out to be a good thing, as Fujin got to understand them and bond with them in a way Raiden couldn't. And now he's a peaceful soul who wishes to protect Earthrealm any way he can. Now when it comes to Fujin's abilities, just think Avatar Aang if he was catching bodies. With his wind he can fly, send you flying, slice you to pieces, and even rob you of your oxygen. He's also a skilled fighter, he has a short sword, and he has a crossbow that shoots bolts made of air. If that isn't the infinite ammo cheat code, I don't know what is. Fujin's good nature would fit in perfectly with the X-Men. I think at first he would be traveling the world just taking in what's going on between mutants and humans. Then he would find out about Professor X and want to help out any way he can. And like Xavier, I feel like he would sympathize with Magneto and want him to let go of his hatred of humans. He would definitely be a leader, and he would be wise and honorable, like Storm for example. The X-Men already have a couple ninjas, nothing wrong with one more. Up next is Beast Boy from the DC Universe. Garfield Logan was just a normal kid until he got hit with an illness called Sekusha. Instead of dying, he was injected with a serum which gave him green hair and skin and the ability to shapeshift into animals. How was the serum able to do that, you may ask? I don't know, it just came from a green monkey. He gave himself the name Beast Boy and he became a superhero. He went on to join the Doom Patrol, then Titans West, and finally, the Teen Titans. And he's been superheroing ever since, while also dating Raven every now and again. It should have been me! Beast Boy checks all of the boxes for being a mutant. No parents because they either hate you or they're dead, freaky looking appearance, superpowers, and nowhere to go. He would have the same situation as Nightcrawler, where people take one good look at him and are scared, but if they got to know him, they know he's a nice guy. Given his young age, he would definitely be a part of the younger generation of X-Men. And he would be a powerhouse. He is the entire animal kingdom, both living and extinct. He can even transform into some alien animals, and even mythical animals. And well, that isn't always consistent, but it's cool it happened at all. And I feel like he would really bond and have an understanding with mutants like Nightcrawler, Mystique, and even Wolverine. You know, the talks between them would be silly. Come on, Logan, you tell me you haven't at least once licked yourself clean? Just because I have animal-like tendencies does not mean I do that. Now stop asking. All right. Thank you. You ever licked your balls? There is definitely a spot for this Green Goblin not to mention. Next up is Kevin Levin from Ben 10. Kevin Levin grew up in a struggling household with both of his parents. But you guys know how this goes. His dad was an a-hole, so he took off. He would end up in New York where he'd commit petty crimes to survive. But one of the interesting things he found he could do was absorb energy. He then met Ben and they would become friends. At first. Kevin was a wild card who wanted to do what he wanted. Ben wasn't feeling that, so they got into it. Kevin absorbed some alien DNA from Ben and he continued to terrorize the city. But then he took too much and his transformation was permanent. At least for a while. They would fight time and time again until eventually they became allies and even best friends. And you may be wondering where his absorbing power comes from. Let me explain. In Ben 10 Ultimate Alien, it's explained that Kevin is half alien. Or to be more specific, half Osmosian, an alien species that can absorb energy and matter. However, one small issue with this origin, it was retconned. So in Omniverse, it turns out that Kevin is actually a mutant. You get it? Mutants? Because that's like the whole thing about this video.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
But yeah, he was a bad guy, but he got better. Kevin is a complex individual, so seeing him become an X-Men would be interesting to see. I mean, he was robbing, terrorizing, selling illegal weapons. He didn't care what happened to anybody as long as he got the bag. But he ended up redeeming himself and helped save the world a few times. I think Kevin would be the kind of mutant that cares more about himself than anything the humans and mutants got going on. But then he would get approached by Magneto to join the Brotherhood. Now, Kevin wouldn't care about his whole cause, but he is homeless and living off of stolen money, so he'd be an idiot not to take his offer. And he would join him on his fight against humanity and the X-Men. And he would then think to himself, you know what? This whole superior species thing really isn't me. And he would switch sides. With Kevin's absorbing ability, he would definitely be a heavy hitter in the X-Men. He can absorb matter from anywhere, and while he has some issues absorbing regular energy, he can do that too. And if the situation calls for it, he can absorb DNA as well, leading to some harmful but powerful results. And Kevin is a natural mechanic, so he can be working with Forge to make new stuff for the team. And Kevin getting into situations where aliens can still be kept. X-Men deal with those as well. Look at the Shi'ar Empire, for example. They already have Gambit. There's room for one more shady mutant. And finally, we got Borsalino, aka Kizaru from One Piece. I had to include an anime character. And honestly, I can't really give you this man's origin. It's not because I don't want to spoil you guys, though I have been ducking spoilers like crazy. It's just that even though this man has had some decent screen time, his backstory hasn't been talked about yet. What I can tell you is that he joined the Marines at 26 and he was already considered a monster. He rose the ranks and became one of the 3 admirals, also known as one of the strongest soldiers in the force. And at some point during his career, he ate the glint glint fruit, which gave him the powers of light. And you're probably thinking, what's light gonna do? It's useless. Wrong. This is not Starlight we're talking about. This man is a walking light bulb of death. He can pierce you with it like he's Frieza, or blow you to smithereens. Jesus. And the man can literally make his own lightsaber. So combine light powers with great fighting skills and you have a dangerous son of a gun right here. Now Kizaru is a very laid back individual, but don't mistake laid back for lazy, because the man gets busy. Now why do I want him in the X-Men? Well, he's pretty mysterious. I mean, he's a Marine, he's not necessarily a bad guy, but there's just something about that man's face. He's gotta be hiding something. Kizaru would definitely be part of Magneto and Professor X's era of mutants. I think he would be a high status mutant like Emma Frost and part of the Hellfire Club, who also won a mutant dominated world through, you know, more shadier means. But like Emma Frost, he would also leave the club and join the X-Men, whether it be because of an old friendship with the professor or, you know, he was just bored. And the man walks in and out of battles with sunglasses in peak condition. Need I say more? And we are done. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe. My socials will be in the description. And please tell me, do you like any of these characters? Which one is your favorite? Are there any other characters that would be great X-Men? Are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments.